All right. This is my response to Rational Roundtable. First of all, I didn't call you a liar. I said you were lying. It's a Christian concept that lying once makes you a liar. I don't think that's the case. I think lying often for selfish reasons, and I know all reasons are selfish, you know what I mean. I think that makes a person a liar, not just lying or withholding information. Oh, okay, now on to the rest. A few points. One, I think maybe you misunderstood some of what I was saying. I wasn't saying you're being dishonest as in just straight up lying to me in the way that, did you break that jar? No. Now that's a different kind of lying. I was talking about intellectual dishonesty, lying to yourself, and by what's the word? Transitive property? No, that's not the right word, but you get by consequence. By consequence, lying to me because on some level you know you're wrong. Also, if you go 9 minutes into my video, I did say that if you're genuinely ignorant of this story, it doesn't apply to you. I was, of course, only talking about people who aren't. Um, when I said I couldn't provide sources, I was saying I couldn't provide the video. There was one video that combined all the information in a perfect, concise way. Um, I was actually waiting to your next response for your next response to provide sources. One, because I thought you already knew that. A lot of people in this atheist debate already know about uh, about the myths of the Old Testament, where they came from. For instance, Behemoth. I called it Behemoth because of Final Fantasy, but Behemoth, Quetzalcoatl, and Leviathan. Is it Quetzalcoatl or is that Mayan? Well, the flying thing and Leviathan, that's clearly from older religions. Some Christians like to say they're dinosaurs, but Behemoth has a belly button, a navel. No, it doesn't mean sinew in Hebrew. The correct spelling actually means navel, belly button. Dinosaurs laid eggs. Now, I know you're not asserting that. I was just giving you an example. If you'd like sources, I will give you a crap load of sources. What I meant when I couldn't find the sources is I specifically could not find that video. Um, I like to give people videos and sources so that they're not just reading through pages and pages of confusing crap. But in that count, you're right. I probably should have thrown one or two of the sources in just, well, to avoid that accusation, really. No, I don't. When I said I actually genuinely thought you knew. Just because, when I went into the debate, in fact, I wanted to be a Christian apologist. I read the Old Testament, the New Testament. Um, I'm actually going to talk about another point on that. Um, as for calling you a liar, again, it's clear that I was talking about, I clearly said the rational theist, specifically the rational Christians, because if you have a general belief in an amorphous God, I can't ask you to prove that because by definition you can't, nor can I even make any arguments against that. I mean, Das American Atheist made a few arguments that were pretty damn convincing, but they're not mine. I'm not saying I have to only do my own arguments. But, well, you get the point. There's no point in arguing against general theists because they don't make any demands on society. They don't make any physical claims about the universe that really have any consequence. Okay, what was I saying? Alright. What I was talking about was intellectual dishonesty. I was actually more angry that you are an honest person, but seemed to be intellectually dishonest. Um, the fact that you asked for sources just there, um, I didn't expect that. Not because I wasn't going to give sources. Again, I'll give plenty of sources. They'll be in the low bar, I promise you. Um, I'll give you this. I made an assumption about you that I shouldn't have. Um, that assumption was based on, um, one, the burden of proof not being on us. I could not imagine an intellectually honest person saying that. So I formed a preconceived notion about who you are, and I apologize. To me, that was just I couldn't even imagine an honest person saying that. Perhaps during that video you had a brain fart or something and I'm being unreasonable. If that is the case, I apologize. Um, so I wasn't accusing you of being a liar in that sense of the word. I'm sure you're a great guy. You seem like a great guy in your videos. It's intellectual honesty that annoys me. Um, intellectually Intellectual honesty isn't the same as regular honesty, dishonesty. It's sort of subconscious. You're lying to yourself so that when you talk to the other person, you're telling the truth based on the lies you told yourself. Um, if you genuinely didn't know about the Adam and Eve thing, I apologize. But that brings me to another point with the rational theist. And when I say that, I don't mean it as a curse word. I don't mean rational theists. I mean theists that I expect more from, that I hold to a higher standard because they're rationalists. So when they do things that are very characteristic of irrational theists, I'm more angry and disappointed at them than I would be at, like, what's his name? Venom Fang X or Nephilim Free. I don't see you as the same of them. I hold you to a higher standard. Just as you hold me to a higher standard. Like you asked for sources. Again, they'll be in the low bar. But, and when I said I couldn't find that source, I really just meant that video. Uh, what was I going to say? If you believe in Christianity, if you believe in Christ, now I don't know if you read the Bible. This is actually less towards you and more towards the rational Christians in general. I have actually spoken to the more rational, liberal Christians, and a lot of them have not read the Bible through and through. You remember the movie Saw? Imagine Saw was getting lazy and he didn't want to make an elaborate trap. So what he did was he tied you to a chair, tied a controller into your hand, and made you play a video game. Okay, he didn't tie the controller. You can move your arms. If you fail this game, let's say it's a real-time strategy RPG slash thing. If you fail this game, when it goes game over, it flips a circuit and puts a bullet through the back of your head. I know this is kind of a stretched analogy. I'm begging you to bear with me here. Now, you say, I don't know how to play this game. And I don't know what his name is, Mask Face, the dude from Saw, is like, well, then you're lucky. Not only do we have the old manual, the Old Testament, where it just shows the basic functions of the game, the producer's manual, the one that came with the game, but we also have the Brady Game Strategy Guide connected to it. You are literally getting a guide to the rest of your life. If you fail this game, you will die. Would you not read it, not read it and just read the bullet points on the back, which is what most Christians do. B, just read the parts of the book that are easy and that you like. Or C, read every sentence of that book back and forth as many days as it took you, if he was giving you that many days, If your answer is the third, or C, then how do you not... A bullet through your head would be a temporary death. Christians think non-Christians, and I know if you believe that you can be good and go to heaven if you don't believe in Christ. I don't know if that's for you. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. I'm talking about being separated from God. That seems like an ultimately worse fate. And yet, so many Christians have not read the Brady Game Strategy of life. Like, God wrote a book. Okay, God didn't write it, but you get what I'm saying? God dictated a book. God. When I was going to be a Christian apologist, I read the New International Version and King James Version because I thought they were written by God. Uh, Alright. What I'm trying to say is it necessarily bad that you don't know that story? No, not necessarily. But do I have trouble believing or taking the rational Christian's faith seriously if they haven't scoured all of academia for every detail they could get on a book that they think was inspired by God, the programmer of everything, so that they can be part of the right denomination, part of the right, you know, sect, group, everything, so that they can know everything about the Bible. So even if they're in the wrong denomination, they don't lead anyone else to the wrong denomination and thus be punished for that. If you truly believed in what was in the Bible, wouldn't the rational Christians, I could see the irrational Christians because, well, they're irrational, but the rational, wouldn't you read every sentence, every letter, every version of this book that you believe was written by the Lord? I, I don't know. Again, I'm sorry if I offended you. I was actually really upset. Lately I've been strangely aggressive for some reason. But I will provide sources, you're right. Again, if you go 9 minutes into my video, I did say that if you're genuinely ignorant of these things, then, it's not your fault. Um, but I would have studied more. I would, if I was Christian, I'd be studying the hell out of the Bible. You Every myth that people think about the Bible, debunking those things or bunking them. I don't know what the opposite would be, but because you think it's written by the Lord, it would be the biggest focus of my life. Not the only focus, but the most important thing, because if I'm wrong about it, I could be in a lot of trouble forever. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that frustrates me. I understand not knowing about it, but it's not a big secret. It's not. It, it's when I became Christian, I wanted to become a Christian apologist. So I studied the crap out of it because I genuinely thought it was from God. I mean, I always believed that if something is the truth, then knowledge is good. Well, the problem is Christianity is not the truth, which kind of leads you to atheism, or at least not Christianity, or any specific religion. Um, but again, did not mean to offend. I think there was a misunderstanding here, probably with how aggressive I was in the video. But yeah, I'll give you sources. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna find that video, try to find that video again, and I'm going to give you a lot of text sources, as much data as I can. If I can find a peer-reviewed thing, I'll give it to you. But the problem is peer-reviewed studies, they usually charge you to read their articles. They have to make money for funding, or I don't know why the hell they charge you. You think they'd want to give that information out, but if it's cheap, I'll give you a recent peer-reviewed article about it. If it's not, I'm sorry, I have $0. But I will give you as many sources I can possibly can, and I thank you for asking for sources. Maybe you're not intellectually dishonest because you did ask for sources. I actually thought when I said that you were going to just dismiss it. Um, Mainly because the burden of proof thing. Maybe that bothers me, or maybe in my mind that's worse than it really is. I admit that. It could be my mind doing that, making it seem like anyone who could say that is the most dishonest person. I could have been overreacting. If so, I apologize. But yeah, I'm gonna find those sources before I upload this video, and so it might take like half a day, maybe. Okay, well, until my video, try to make the world a better place, and I will too.